The United States of America has always been providing critical assistance to Nigeria, primarily focused on healthcare security and counter-terrorism and also humanitarian relief. For example, from 2015 to 2024, that is about 9 years, the United States of America gave Nigeria close to 15 billion US dollars, close to 15 billion US dollar aid. But things are turning around because the US House, they have voted and backed that the US should suspend their aid to Nigeria because of Christian persecution. Take a listen.
Speaker, I rise in strong support for my amendment to increase the withholding threshold for assistance to Nigeria from 50% to 100%, while keeping in place benchmarks that demand Nigeria take effective steps to address the violence and persecution that continue to devastate the country. Nigeria has faced a horrific wave of violence that its corrupt government has failed to address. For years, and especially in recent months, Christians and other religious minorities in Nigeria have been subjected to violence and terrorism at the hands of extremists operating with impunity. Christian women and girls continue to be abducted, assaulted, tortured, and killed. Their churches are burned, and entire communities are erased. If the aid conditions included in the bill are important enough to withhold half of all the funding to the Nigerian government, then they are important enough to withhold all of the funding. The generosity of our taxpayers is a reflection of the American values we hold so firmly. Never should we allow their hard-earned tax dollars to be funneled to corrupt regimes that fail to uphold religious freedom, fail to adequately confront terrorism, and fail to protect the innocent from persecution. So why are we rewarding a government that fails to meet such a basic obligation? This amendment is simple. It does not remove the aid conditions in the bill, but only strengthens such conditions. But most importantly, it upholds a principle that all recipients of American taxpayer assistance should follow, that they must prove they are willing and able to respond to violence before receiving any funding. Simply put, meet the standard before receiving support. That is the accountability the American taxpayer deserves. Foreign aid should never be a reward for failure. So as our national debt is fast approaching 40 trillion, why on earth are we still allowing ourselves to go further into debt by rewarding corrupt foreign governments that tolerate terrorism within their borders? When churches are burned, women and girls are abducted, and terrorists operate with near impunity, that is not merely an internal disturbance, it is a direct assault on the freedoms our nation claims to defend, which our foreign assistance must reflect and uphold. This is not about punishing the Nigerian people. It is about demanding accountability for their government's complacency and ensuring that our foreign aid is leveraged to defend, reflect, and uphold American values. Even the underlying bill recognizes the Nigerian government's failure to meet the standard, yet it still allows for half of the funding to be released anyways. My amendment withholds all funds until they meet basic standards. Accountability can never be divided, nor should we allow anyone to exploit the generosity of the American taxpayer. I urge my colleagues to uphold accountability in our foreign aid spending and to vote for my amendment. I reserve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this legislation. And I want to thank Chairman Cole and Chairman Diaz-Balart for their leadership on this bill. Thank you. This bill reinforces the important work we have championed to combat the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, where nearly 100,000 Christians have been killed since 2009. Last year, President Trump asked Chairman Cole and myself to investigate the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria, myself and Chairman Diaz-Balart going to Nigeria. Since then, we have worked with the Trump administration to develop a strategy that provides assistance to the Nigerian government in their defense of Christians while holding President Tinubu's government accountable if they fail. The U.S.-Nigeria security agreement is already bearing fruit, including eliminating ISIS's number 2 globally. This bill bolsters our strategy by conditioning 50% of all U.S. assistance to Nigeria on measurable actions to protect Christians. It also puts a spotlight on the Middle Belt, where we have not seen nearly enough progress in protecting Christians against Fulani Islamic terrorists. With this vote, we will express the support of this chamber for the report we presented to the White House on how to end the Christian genocide in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, the United States must never turn a blind eye to our persecuted brothers and sisters in Christ. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on this bill. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
All right, for me, past occurrences and things that has been going on, global politics, lobbying firms, and so on and so forth, has made a lot of Nigerians to believe in themselves, to prepare to fight for themselves, to protect themselves. However, so many parts of the country are not meeting up to this responsibility. Defending yourself is a big task. And that is why the primary responsibility of any government is supposed to be the protection of lives and property of her citizens and everyone who reside in the territory. But that is not what we are seeing. So we understand that despite Trump's plan to intervene in Nigeria before, then after that, a lot of lobbying took place. Some people claim that the Nigerian government spent almost $150 million to make sure they lobby to preventing Trump from coming to Nigeria to do something that he wanted to do, something like that. But the truth is that why we are not against foreign intervention, I personally, I'm not against if any country want to help all those. No, I'm not against it. But our primary focus remains in the communities, the people helping themselves, fighting, protecting themselves through the vigilante group, through strategic vigilante groups, and any kind of security, security groups like hunters and so on and so forth. The target is how to defending yourself. Like I said before, it is not easy. Why so many communities have succeeded in doing it, so many of them are having challenges. Either because they don't have money to procure arms. In Nigeria, vigilante group can only use pump action and all those guns. And the another opposite of vigilante using gun is that you might even see some terrorists with AK-47 with sophisticated weapons, and they will still tell you that these people have seen vigilante, and the law did not permit them to carry such gun. Because if you or me, for example, as a vigilante member, carry such gun, they will arrest me. But if you still see people with that gun, if you report them, they will still tell you that no, we are the one that armed them. This is the major problem, we are facing about these things. So I don't really know, but US seems to be making a U-turn, understanding and knowing fully well that this problem has not finished. This is a very serious problem, and this problem is worse before Trump made the famous statement of coming to Nigeria to do something. Yes, they came into Nigeria, they killed some ISWAP or ISIS and so on and so forth. But I don't think that only kinetic could be the solution. What the House, the Congress are doing now is good. I'm not against it, but they should also understand that this is a very long battle that started a long time ago. I also saw that the United States is trying to ban Sharia law in the US. Why? Because of the fear of violence, the fear of conquer, and so on and so forth. So that is the exact thing. That is the same thing we are also facing in Nigeria. So if US could be facing such a thing, so what would be of us that are in the same country with these people, sharing the same constitution with them, sharing all those things with them? So another example is the United Kingdom. When you get to United Kingdom now, they are facing crisis of extremists, crisis of people who want to impose Sharia and so on and so forth. And that is why this party of Kemi Bednock, the opposition in the House now, they have a resolute, they have a boundary against all these things. So in the summary of what I'm saying is that we are not against everything that US want to do, but we must be resolute that we must take our destiny to our hands to understanding the problem we have and also trying to figure out the possible solution to it, like defending ourselves and so on and so forth. Why saying all these things? Let's not also forget that the ultimate solution lies in giving the indigenous people the authority to protect themselves. I'm talking about territorial authority, territorial integrity, and that is when you have your own country or your own region to manage. That is where the ultimate solution will come. Look at what is going on in Oyo State. A governor is not pleased with what went wrong in his state. A governor is demanding for another investigation because there is something that is fishy. He's not comfortable. He's not pleased with everything that happened. So if that state is just a country that has all this territorial integrity to defend themselves, their own constitution, and so on and so forth, they know what to do. They know what to do, but this is Nigeria for you. You understand? So everybody just focus on what they're focusing, and they think that everything is just like that. But let's see what is going to happen. Let me know what you think.